merciful unto us and bless us. Cause his face to shine upon us, Selah. That thy way be known upon the earth, that saving health among all nations. Let the people praise thee, O I am. Let all the people praise thee. Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon the earth. Selah. Let the people praise thee, O I am, and let all the people praise thee. Then shall the earth yield her increase, and God, even our own God, shall bless us. God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. Psalms chapter 67. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, 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 yes. All praises, all praises, all praises. We give praises to him, even the great Yahuwah, Yahweh, Tata, Nzambe, Sinini, Nanini, all the names that you name them in your language. Yes. And we thank the Most High, yes, for all that are listening, all that are viewing. We thank God for you. Hallelujah. We give God the glory and the praise, that his praise is going forth throughout all the earth, and that people are being delivered, and even those places, even where the name of the Most High is named, they are being blessed, all the way from the Sahel to the Congo. Yes, you have Israel there. You have Israel there. Yes, you have Israel there. They were scattered. Yes, they were. How else could you get a lot of Israelites here in America? Some are already here. We had some black folks still here. They were here in the United States, in South America, different places. By whatever means God would have them here, they were here. But the fact is that how did Israel get scattered? Now, I was listening to a debate between a noted, black scholar who wrote, should I say, a world-renowned book. I'm not going to say their names, and none you should already know. And one who is of one of the camps, Hebrew Israelite camps, well-known guy, all on YouTube. And they were debating. Now, one says that Africa is Israel, and the other one says that Israel was in, should I say, the land which is called Palestine now. Really, it's another name for Philistine. Philistina. Yes. But the fact is that what happened? Now, both of them were right in a sense. They don't know it, but they were right in a sense. See, even though I might say a high mountain doesn't really give me a, should I say, how many feet or how high that mountain was. Lofty, you even have lofty mountains. You're dealing with Old English versus, should I say, the Hebrew language, or the language of Hebrew. Now, the fact is, you also have the other one who says that, was talking about the different tribes all the way down from the Sahel, even into below the Sahel. In other words, the global south, or whatever you want to call it. But the fact is, let's put it this way. Israel was scattered. They were scattered north, south, east, and west. Even many times Israel had fallen and its people ran for safety. Some ran to Egypt, some ran toward the south in Africa, and some even ran south in the land of Shem, all the way down to cross the Red Sea, where it's shorter to get across, right by Djibouti and Yemen, around that area. Now, the land has been infiltrated by those that you call Arabs today. But the fact is, you get into, now one got into a lot of forensics. Now the fact is that for his thing, I would say you must study the book, the volume 2 of the history of the Hebrews, and the ancient Hebrews and Arabs by Anubantu and Gert Mueller. Volume 2 deals with the forensics, the nose, the eyes. See, most people cannot really relate to that, Mr. D. They cannot relate to that. You have a good sense of what is going on, but the fact is God scattered his people. Whether they migrated or not, they were scattered. They ran. It's just like if I was to run. See, me, myself, I don't deal with this Yahusha deal because God, throughout the years, God have dealt with me on that. And I see that a lot of it was made up. Most of it was made up using bits and pieces of the book of Enoch, the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, and then various parts of the Bible to culminate and to get what we call today the New Testament. Yes, it is. But many can't see that. But the fact is, his laws, statutes, ordinances, and should I say commandments are what we're most concerned about, regardless of what you think about in that area. Now, the people that are in Africa, you have another man in Africa that is well known for his same belief as Mr. D. I'll say that's Mr. H. So Mr. D and Mr. H sort of got something together. You know, they don't believe, when it says down, you don't understand what he's talking about, because a lot of times the Old Testament is also Greek influenced. Yes, the other guy got it right that time. It's Greek influenced. The Greeks have gone a lot. Even you, Mr. Dalton. I mean, should I say D? But either way, you have it. You got it. Scattered, migrated, whatever you want to call it. The migration is true. The scattering is true. Else, how would you get them on the slave ship in the west part of Africa to get over into America? The majority of those Israelites that are in America. The other guy, Mr. Destruction. So let us think about this. How can we deal with this? Now you talk about being in South, there's nowhere, and there's altars all over Africa. There's altars all over Egypt where Israel has made altars. Some of them written, some of them not. And you have to realize with the introduction of Christianity, or before that, those that were Israelites that were in the land really had made proselytes of a lot of the inhabitants of the land that they fled to. Whether they got away from Rome or whether they go further back, even from Nebuchadnezzar or Sennacherib. So you're going to have to really call a buck. And then you have to say, well, how did this temple get here in Tel Arad? How did that temple get there? That's another mystery. But yet you don't have a temple or nothing there, but all you have is an altar. That doesn't tell me anything. But that temple was covered up, and God blew a strong wind over it, and it was revealed. I mean, nobody unearthed that temple in Tel Arad. Nobody. But the Most High. So what you going to do with that? The land of Shem, the land of Edom, all that, the land of Shem right there. Then you go over further east, you go toward the east, you got the land of the Hamites, Egypt, Mitzrayim, all the way over to Marco. So a lot of them went toward the south. Many went toward the south. Were they actually people in the south before these people that have came out of Mount Ararat? Did they actually come down into the south? There were some people there. Yes, very few. But the fact is that most of the people from Mitzrayim and other places migrated or fled to the south at the destruction of their lands, from Egypt all the way into even Ethiopia and Sudan and all those places. Then one of you said, well, I don't believe in the books of... You believe in the Apocrypha, don't you? The Christians got rid of that, didn't they? Well, what about the books of Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees? They're false books, you say. But yet your 66 books quote them in different areas. And the fact is that even under the quotes, they have some excerpts that are from that. So this is where I get my thing, where I deem my own studies that even the New Testament is void. Nothing there. It's all borrowed, built up, whatever. And they give it a name and they laugh at you every day because that's what you believe, because it's your tradition. But either way, either one should take either's findings into account, because both of them have good points and correct points. So therefore, we're in the book of First Kings. And we thank God for those of you that have been with us from the beginning. See, I'm one of those guys whose things is not very popular because I go against the grain, period. And it doesn't bother me. I've been on here for over 2 years, but either thing is that I go against the grain. But when God is ready, God is ready. Because many of you can't handle what I put out, because I'm going verbatim. I'm going paragraph to paragraph. I'm not in here and there and over here, bouncing over here. When I get to that paragraph, and if I see another scripture that needs to be expounded on, we're going to go there to help enlighten you on this paragraph or this chapter. Now, this is the way we walk. We're walking through the Bible. We're walking through the Bible. Walk with me. And we also thank those of you who have been with us since the beginning, and those of you here and there's about. And we thank the Most High for those of you who have subscribed and those of you who are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay, and I am Mr. Clay. Yes, and we're in the book of First Kings, the book of First Kings, and we're going to start with we're in First Kings chapter 11. Yes, chapter 11. Now this is where it gets a little heavy at. Chapter 11. Now God promised Solomon that he was going to, if he kept his statutes, commandments, and ordinances, that there would be no end to his kingdom. And that would even transfer over to David. He told David if his seed would keep his statutes and commandments, there would be no end to his throne. See, this is where we get into this fictitious Yahushua and all this other stuff that they concocted. Yes, they don't have to be white that done this. Could have been the Ethiopians, it could have been the Sanhedrin, it could have been anybody that concocted this. Could have been the groups that they say that were cast out and all of this, that made this Jesus or this Yahushua or whatever you call him, and took him, and he was killed. Yes, many of them there were people in that day that were crucified, even by the Romans. So you say it's Yahushua or Yahusha, but then there are other rebellious people that were Israelites that were crucified and deleted by the Romans, period. So let's be specific. And plus, the doctrine of Jesus is really fictitious, by all means. Or should I say, even the narrative of Jesus is fictitious, or Yahweh, Yahushua, however you might call them, out of your ignorance. But either way. Now, he says, but King Solomon loved many strange women. Oh, here come, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. His father loved that woman that was the wife of a Hittite. More likely she was a Hittite, Bathsheba, and now it's the egg, the DNA from her. Although he's an Israelite by virtue of his father, of the tribe of Judah, together with the daughter of Pharaoh. Now he married with Pharaoh, okay. Women of the Moabites. Now his grandmama was a Moabitess, Ruth. Some of you would try to justify that, but his mother was a Moabitess. Only thing that made her even of, should I say, of Judah or of the Israelites was her marriage to the sons of, should I say, Naomi. Now, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, which really was his mother, like his mama. Though his fruit didn't fall far from the tree. Of other nations concerning which the I am of the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come into you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. This was the reason he told them not to marry or intermarry with the nations around them. But his father David did it, why can't I do it? He got away with it. Okay. Look at my mama. This dark-skinned, dark and lovely Hittite that he fell so in love with because he saw her naked body on a roof trying to wash away the filth of her woman time. And he had 700 wives. This man was so... This guy had to have something that was, I mean, even more powerful than any known natural or unnatural Viagra. 700 wives, princesses, 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. See, he was being tried. This thing hit him tenfold that hit his father, David. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. In other words, he had to appease them somehow that they don't go nowhere else and find him another man or something to that point. And his heart was not perfect with the I am his God. Now he backslid. At one time, at the time that he built the temple, his heart was perfect. Now our hearts do change. This is why we must constantly guard our hearts. Understand our intentions. Where are we going from here, even as we age? To the point, are we trying to please this woman so she don't leave us because we're getting too old to even please her anymore? Or we have eaten so badly and our health is gone that we cannot even be of service to our own wives and her to us. So we do other things to try to please her and make her feel as though she's cared for. Because women do love attention. They do love to know that they are loved. But when it comes to you and God, let the woman go. She want to go somewhere else and damn her soul. Damn her soul. But either way, it came to pass when Solomon was old, and that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the I am his God, as was the heart of David his father. Now watch what God do in latter times. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonian. They turned his heart to him, to her. A man after God's own heart. A man that really built, the son of a man after God's own heart. The son of a man that had the instructions for the temple, who gave it to the man that built him. This man who sung the psalms and was all poetic in his love toward God, changed by women. Just as Adam was changed by a woman because he loved his woman more than he loved his God. This is what we're talking about. All that other stuff about where Israel come from and stuff, that's secondary to me. The law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances are first and foremost, regardless. Now, they even tertiary, third, whatever you want to call it. So what? But it was a good debate. I'm gonna say it. Ron Dalton and Deacon Destruction. Yes, that was a good one. Yeah, that was pretty good. Now, for Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom of the abomination of the Ammonite. In other words, the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the I am and went not fully after the I am, as did David his father. In other words, these things God had hope in them. Perhaps maybe some spark get in them. They would think of the prayer of Abram. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of the hearts, thoughts of men's hearts. Let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Many things can lead us away. These are spirits. Now, one thing is true. A man is enticed Lust is created in you as it was with Eve. He had to create an argument to get her to see what he was talking about. And once he could sway her into what he had to do, then she saw the fruit was good. Lust was created in her, this evil desire against the commandment of the Most High. And she saw it was good for fruit, to make one wise and to make one like God. So he done this. This happens over and over and over again. This thing, Satan, the Satan just, I got him. I know the recipe how to get a man to fall, period. He can't help himself most of the time. It's true. This is very true. And went not fully after the I am, as did David his father. And then David built an high place for Shemoth, the abomination of Moab. Moab. They were Shemites. Yes, they were Shemites. They were really located over there down there by the Dead Sea. You're talking about going southwestward of the Dead Sea. It's really in the area where Sodom and Gomorrah was. Really, you find the black ash and all that other stuff. Mr. D. You find the black ash and you find all those things that happened to Sodom and Gomorrah right there by the Dead Sea. You see it all down there. But then you say the Israelites, they changed things. Yes, you're right, Mr. D. They were up on the northern side. And they said that was it. But that was not Sodom and Gomorrah. For Moab was not too far from there because that's where Lot had his affair with his daughters, or they had the affair with their father. I mean, for whatever reason that was. But regardless, that's where they were. Now, we established that this is why Jerusalem is Telerad. And Abraham saw the smoke as it ascended up, but you don't believe in the book of Jubilees of Jasher or nothing like that, so that's irrelevant to you, Mr. Deep. Okay. But I don't believe in the New Testament, period. So I ain't got nothing to do with it. So we even there. So let us leave it alone. But either way, and had commanded him concerning this thing that he should not go after other gods, but he kept that which was not that which the I am commanded. Okay, verse 11. Wherefore the I am said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I commanded thee, and I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Oh my God. Oh, for both of you, I do not debate. Not no televised debate or social media. I don't debate like that. Nah, don't do that. So, whatever you got to say, have at it. Either way. Now, withstanding in that days, I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. He said, notwithstanding, I will not do it for David's sake, thy father's, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Now, the fact is, he said he didn't do it for him. He didn't do it in his time, in his days, in Solomon's days. But he was going to tear the kingdom out of David because his seed did not keep his commandments. Some of them did. God had much patience with the king line of David. And you say, oh, your Isis, your Yahushua, your whatever you say is the Messiah. No, that was just some guy who was preaching, or Essenes or whatever they call, whoever that was. He was crucified and they just fixed him up. It was just at the right time in the right place. Oh, we got some more stuff we can go with. We ain't gonna even go to book Jubilees of Jasher. It's right here that disproves it. Right here in this 66 books. But either way, but we're gonna read it chapter per chapter. We ain't sitting up there going with all this stuff bouncing all over the Bible, trying to paste it like a newspaper. I don't look at that. No, I ain't pasting the Bible. We're gonna read it word for word. This is why it's so good to risk. If you read the Bible and you finish the Bible, go back over it again. And again, and again, and again, until God straightens your wicked imagination out. Now, There's things I'm still yet to discover. No, regardless, I ain't to that point where I can say I have perfect wisdom or perfect knowledge or perfect understanding in the things of the Most High as far as his writings. So there's more to be discovered, more to understand. Yes, I leave that room. Now, but will give ones, he says, but I will not rend it, but he will give it. This is how he does it. And I am stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad, the Edomite. Verse 14. And he was the king of the king's seed in Edom. He was an Edomite. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain after he had smitten every man in Edom. So that was one enemy. For 6 months did Joab remain there in all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. Joab was like a CIA, whatever you want to call it. And Hadad fled, and he and certain Edomites and his father servants with him to go to Egypt. Hadad being yet a little child. Oh, it's going to get better. And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, which gave him an house and appointed him victuals and gave him land. This is Hadad. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh. Oh, your enemies are rising. They're rising up, David, so that he gave him wife, the sister of his own wife, the sister of Taphinis, the queen. And the sister of Taphinis bare him Jenubah, his son, whom Taphinis weaned in Pharaoh's house. And Jenubah was in Pharaoh's house among the sons of Pharaoh. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and Joab, the captain of the host, was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, now the time of peace is gone. They built the temple of the Most High. I mean, God's word came to pass, although he knew the heart of these people was going to change, or these men were going to change. That was the reason for it. Now, the host was dead. Hadad said, Pharaoh, let me depart, that I might go into my own country. And Pharaoh said unto him, but what hast thou lacked with me? He was fond of Hadad. Have you been a little boy in your midst, or playing with your sons or something like that? And I had a little boy with me. He went fishing with me and my sons and everything, and we did. I just like one of my own kids. He hung around and everything. Matter of fact, they had kids all over the whole block. But either way, then Pharaoh said unto him, but what hast thou lacked with me? That behold, thou seekest to go down thine own country. And he answered, nothing. Howbeit, let me go down anywise. And God stirred up him another adversary, Rezon, the son of Eliada, which fled from his lord Hadadezer, king of Zobah. And these were the ones that were at peace with him at one time, but now this is God working through the circumstances. I always say God works through circumstances, just like he's doing with Russia and all the rest of them, and this old fake Israel and all these other things. God is working through the circumstances, and something is going to give. According to his plan, it's going to give. And I'm watching God. I'm not watching what Putin says. I'm not watching what U.S. say. I'm watching what God does. I'm watching how things culminate. So for Russia, it would be best to turn to the Most High and give all that you can according to your understanding. I'm sure many of you were raised in a way that is not according to God, but this is what you understand until you can make sense of who God really is. He can see you're fighting to try to serve him. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief of Hadad, and he abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. And Jehoram, now this is the one, Jehoram, son of Nebat, the Ephrathite. an Ephrathite of Zereda. Now this was an Israelite here. Solomon's servants, whose mother's name was Zurah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against King Solomon, against the king. Solomon built Milo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. That was why. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, strong. And Solomon seemed a young man that he was industrious. He made him rule over all the charge of the house of Joseph. Yes, something else, ain't it? And it came to pass at the time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem that a prophet, Ahijah, and I say this is the third prophet we heard of, a Shilonite, found him in the way, and he clad himself with a new garment, and they too were alone in the field. In other words, Solomon, you just angered the Most High. You just flipped the script. All these cattle and things that you sacrificed for, by the thousands, and the smell of your heart was going up to God of how you was in praise and adoration of the King of Glory, and you turned to beggarly women, following after their wiles. You became a simp. And caught a new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, thus said the I am, the God of Israel. Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and I will give 10 tribes to thee. See, you got to remember, they even chose, the people of Israel even chose a king over God. See, this is the whole premise of everything. God is the Savior. God is the Creator. The I am. Him alone, him by himself. There was no Jesus with him in the beginning. There was nothing, nobody. Out of darkness he called light. And he created the beings that we experience today. And many of them even turned against him. So if his creation had flaws in it, how much more will yours, man, your AIs and all these other things? Oh, you're just about to see these things where the AI is going to go crazy and cause much havoc in the land and in the earth. You think that somebody had it right with the movie Terminator. It's not going to be that. It's going to be the ghost in the machine, or the spirit in the machine that's going to turn it. Just like the spirits that turned man against the Most High, his Creator. You think you better than God. Okay, let's go see. Now, and he said to Jeroboam, take heed. Take thee 10 pieces. For thus saith the I am, God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, of Benjamin. But because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Shemoth, the god of the Moabite. These are, do you not know these are the same spirits, these devils, these satans, that turn men out of their gender and women out of their gender, cause the crazy to be crazy, the foolish and the weird to be weird? Oh, they wreak havoc in the land, man. This is why Abraham prayed the prayer in Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes. And have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. And even David his father, he started out the way, but he had room to repent. So God forgot his sins, just as he said he would. And said, just as David his father. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of him, but I will make him prince all the days of his life, my David, my servant's sake, whom I chose because he kept my commandments and my statutes. That's because of the mercy of the Most High. Else David would have been deleted. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and I will give it thee, even 10 tribes. In other words, he's going to take these tribes and pervert them. You know why when they dispersed into the South African and African lands, escaping from their enemies, meaning they brought idolatry along with the things of God. All those different tribes that mingled with the African tribes or the Hamitic tribes, they mingled even all kind of things. And today, many of you that are in Africa think that you were already like that. No, you wasn't. You have to go back, keep going back, because a lot of your ways are mixed with idolatry and the ways of God with commandments. And you can't, good and evil cannot dwell together. Even as your New Testament say, salt and sweet, it really is good. Now you got sweet and salty, or sweet and sour. Yes, nice flavors, even when we think about the way the world is going now. They use the sweet and sour. They take God's commandments and they mix it with all these movies and all these other things, and you just got a mess. But God is straight up and he's absolute. In other words, if it's going to be sweet, let it be sweet. If it's going to be sour, let it be sour. If it's going to be salty, let it be salty. Period. It's the way God is. I mean, we're not talking literally. Okay, some of you can get it backwards. But I will take thee and shall reign according to all that thou desirest, and shall be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways and do that which is right, to keep my statutes and my commandments as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and will be thee a sure house as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. But we shall see what Jeroboam did. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. For Solomon sought there to kill Jeroboam. And Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt, into Shishak, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. And the rest of the acts of Solomon's and all that he did and his wisdom are not written in the book of the Acts of Solomon, or the wisdom of Solomon. And the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years, the same as David, his father. Yes, 40 years. It's 80 years, okay. God now knows that Israel rejecting God, you might not feel the thing of your rejection right along. That's why I said, what have this, only God's mercy toward his own that would get you to the point where you got over here on slave ships, and those of you who say you was already here, that you even endured the things that have come against you. Those of you who are in Africa and they've isolated you and put you to another side, and unless you have even, given them something that would come, be a median between your religion and their religion, should I say. I'll put it in that manner. To the point where you can worship idols, yet you're saying you're going to worship God at the same time. And you only see remnants. You don't see the full people worshiping, and they don't even know who Jesus is, some of them. But everybody in the whole wide world knows who the Most High, the King of Kings, the owner of all the earth and space and time, even the Most High, the I am that I am. Man, you cannot bring them down to your level. There's no way. Or to your understanding, but to understand him. Don't figure God out. Stop trying to figure God out. To understand him and know him. God ain't gonna do it that way. I know it that much. With many of you, you judge God. Oh, God is too wicked. He destroyed this. But you don't understand God. You don't know God. I know. No, you don't. Get out of here. But if we do those things which God commands us, the creator of space, time, and everything else that we have on this earth. Spirits, the father of spirits, as the Greek call him. The creator of all things. Things that we think that he's so primitive. God is not very much not primitive as you think he is. God is unlimited in everything he does. God is unlimited. And once we accept that and who he is and what he commands us and ask of us, we will have peace.
Walk with me.